In this video, we're going to go over some basic navigation of your Moodle course with 4.0. Once you've logged in successfully, you'll have your main page here, and this is where all of the content is going to go onto your Moodle page. You have your general section here at the top, which is mostly reserved for general information such as a syllabus, maybe a Zoom link, or any information that's going to go towards the entire class. It isn't mandatory for you to put that information in this section, but if you do choose to do so, this is a good place because it's right here at the top, and it's the first thing that the students are going to see. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes, how you would go ahead and add information, but as we scroll down here, you'll see that everything is separated for us. On the far left, we have our course index, and this is a new feature for Moodle 4.0. And basically what it's going to do is house all of the content on your page, not just the topics or the titles, but also links to all of the items that you populate your page with. So if I scroll down on the course index, I can see that I have all of my options here, and I can choose any of these items to go ahead and be taken to that item on my Moodle page. So the course index is new, but it definitely allows you to move around a lot easier. So back here on my main page, if I want to collapse that course index, it's really easy to do so by just clicking on this X, and that will close the course index. Previously, in the place of the course index, there was a navigation menu, and that's where we had most of the things that we would use to manage our course. All of those items have now sort of been moved around on Moodle into different places, but they're just easier for you to access. So here at the top, a lot of those navigation menu items are going to be located here in the course admin settings bar. You can see you have your settings here, so if we click on that, we have our settings. We can go into and see our format if we choose to change it. We also have our participants. If we click on that, we can see anybody who is enrolled in our course. If we want to access our grades, we can click on grades, and that will take us to our grader report, and we can actually access the gradebook setup from this menu here as well. If you want to view any reports that you can make on 4.0, you can click reports and you can generate that information here. It gives you all of your options here. Once you can click on them, you can put in the information you need to generate that report. Under the More menu, you have a few other things here that you can take a look at. You have your question and content bank. You also have things such as badges, recycle bin, and course reuse. Course reuse is important, especially if you're going to be importing information from a previous course into this semester. So right now, upon default, once you go into the More menu and you press Course Reuse, it'll have the Import drop-down menu already selected for you. But if you wanted to choose Backup or Restore, you can choose that from this menu as well. All of these items were accessible from different menus previously, and now they've consolidated everything into one easy-to-access place. If we go back to our main page here, you could see on the right hand side we now have our block straw, and this is different just because it's named the block straw, and you can easily collapse it and expand it as you wish. You could see all of our blocks that we have enabled here as well, and you can also add more blocks if you choose by turning your editing mode on in the upper right hand corner. So not only just for blocks, but if we toggle this edit mode button, we can add our blocks here with add a block, but we can also use that to edit our page. So if you want to add anything to your page, if you need to add activities or resources, which we'll talk about in a moment, any kind of content you want to add, or if you want to add blocks to your page, you would have to turn your editing mode on first. And in order for you to tell the difference, you can see that when the editing mode is turned on, you have all of these little pencils and editing features that you can use, whereas if it is turned off, those items are no longer available for you and you can't see it anymore. So if you were to turn your editing mode on and you wanted to add information, you could very easily scroll down to the section where you want to add that information and choose add an activity or resource. A resource is an item that you are giving to the students for them to look at for informational purposes. You're not expecting anything from them from that resource. An activity is something you are going to give a student if it's an assignment or something you're expecting back from them, like a paper or a quiz or a forum, anything like that. And you can navigate the activity or resource panel here by looking at the different icons and choosing what you wish. And you can choose all items, or you can filter by activities only, or resources only, or what's recommended. So that's basically up to you, but it's pretty easy. Once you go in, you select your item, and then you go to the settings page and create that item. Here on the right hand side under the blocks drawer, we have our access to our calendar, so you can add items to your calendar from here. You can also click on the full calendar to take you to your whole calendar, where you can see everything you have all at once, and you can add information here. If you go to the full calendar, you can still add new events and choose the course that you want to add that event onto, and it'll update it onto the actual course itself. The last thing I want to show you for some basic navigation is how you can log in as a student. So I'm going to go back to my main page here, and if I want to go and log in as a student, you're going to navigate to the upper right hand corner to where your initials are here, and you're going to click Switch Role To and then choose Student. Once you do that, you'll be able to see the course through the eyes of a student, and this is really very helpful, so you can get an idea of what they see, if you've hidden items, if you want to see if things on your course index, how they show up or don't show up. That's why the student view is really very useful. The only thing you want to make sure you do when you're finished using the student view is going back to that main menu in the upper right hand corner and choosing Return to My Normal Role. If at any point your editing mode was turned on before you switched over to student, it will no longer be turned on when you come back from student view, since students do not have access to edit the page. So this is just a basic tour of kind of getting around where everything is. There are more intricate videos that you can select in this tutorial library that will show you how to actually specifically use those items as you go along. But with this video, it's just a general idea of how to get around and some of the changes that you have experienced from our previous version.